So, Minnesota has come off a 39-10 win over the Chargers. Chargers fall to 5-9. Minnesota upgrades to 10-4. Now, numbers: Phillip Rivers, 28 of 39, 307 for a 7.9 average, one touch, three picks, was sacked three times, and had a quarterback rating of 71.2. Running the ball, they didn't do much of it, mostly because of what the score was. It was pretty close early, but then the turnovers kind of racked up. Melvin Gordon, 7 carries for 28 yards, a 4.0 average. Austin Eckler, 7 for 19, 2.7. Justin Jackson, 5 for 15, and a 3.0. So, 19 carries for 62 yards and 3.3 yards per carry in total. And receiving the ball, Keenan Allen caught 9 of 10 targets for 99 yards, 11.0 average. Didn't score a touchdown. Mike Williams, 4 of 9 targets for 71 yards and didn't score. Eckler caught 5 of 7 for 62. Gordon, also 5 of 7, but for 36. Hunter Henry caught both of his targets for 29. Andre Patton, 1 of 1 for 8. Justin Jackson, 2 of 2 for 2. So they were 6 of 11 on third down, so 54%. 1 of 2 on fourth down, 50%. 1 of 2 in the red zone, 50%. -6 in the turnover margin, which is ridiculous. 5 penalties for 48 yards and held the ball for 27 minutes and 41 seconds. Minnesota, Cousins, 19 of 25, 207 for an 8.3 average. Had 1 score, 1 pick, wasn't sacked, and had a 96.6 quarterback rating. Mike Boone actually led them in carries today and yards with 13 carries for 56 yards, a 4.3 average, and 2 scores. Dalvin Cook got hurt in this game. That is priority number 1 after it. But he was able to carry for 9 times for 27 yards, 3.0 average. Abdullah, 5 for 25 for 5.0. Cousins, 3 of 14 for 4.7. Then we have a bunch of guys with 1 carry. Johnson, 1 for 6. Ham, 1 for 5. Diggs, 1 for 4. And Thielen, 1 for 3. And Mannion gets tasked with 3 rushes for -3 yards because of kneel downs. So, in the grand scheme, 37 carries for 137 yards, a 3.7 average with 2 scores. Not the worst thing. I think the 3.7, it would likely be over that if they didn't have to kneel it down, but that's whatever. Diggs, 4 of 6 on the receiving end for 76 yards. Rudolph, 3 of 3 for 48. Thielen, 3 of 3 for 27. Johnson, 1 of 1 for 19. Dalvin, 3 of 3 for 16. Ham, 3 of 3 for 13. And Irv Smith caught 2 of 3 for 8 in the score. And Abdullah was targeted twice, but didn't catch either of them. So they were 7 of 14 on third down, so that's 50%, which you can work with. They didn't go for it on fourth. 3 of 6 in the red zone, 50% again. +6 in the turnover margin, and they had 5 penalties for 41 yards, 32 minutes, and 19 seconds of time of possession. So, actual thoughts. Like I said before, Cook's health, priority number 1 coming out of this game. Based on what that was, we know he's had a shoulder issue that looked like it was just compounding that. Although he wasn't in the locker room taking x-rays and things like that, so that's at least a good sign. Don't know where he is, obviously, but it's a good sign that he wasn't in the x-ray room and all that kind of stuff. That's a good sign. Now, another good sign was Mike Boone filled in well, and obviously it hurts not having Dalvin in there because Dalvin's a special kind of running back. But I do think they can have success with the stable of backs they have, especially if Alexander Madison does come back and if Cook has to miss a game or 2. So I do think they could still have an effective running game, although not sure if it's as great as it has been when Dalvin's completely healthy, because Dalvin is just Dalvin. Now, the offense itself today kind of felt similar to last week. They were afraid to attack. It kind of felt like they were just waiting for the Chargers to kind of mess up, and then eventually they did, and they kind of like, oh, okay, cool. They're going to do it this way. We're just going to keep doing this. And I don't think you can be afraid to attack. At a certain point, you have to attack. And I think that kind of showed in the red zone the most, because they had a Melvin Gordon fumble early, and what was that, like around the 10 to 15-ish yard line? I forget exactly where, but it was in that range. And they don't even attempt a shot at the end zone, which is kind of ridiculous given the fact that it's only like 15 yards away. And it's just that kind of mass conservatism where I'm like, that might come back to bite you later. Maybe not in this game, but in future games, you can't have that mindset. So It just feels like maybe in the red zone you need to take a few more chances just for the chance of getting up there. Um, I and the one interception that Cousins threw, I think they kind of just went to the well one too many times. They hit him with a bunch of screens before that. It was only a matter of time before they figured out like, oh, this is a screen. This is how they do them. So I'm not going to blame Cousins necessarily on that. He still has to release the ball. It's probably better to eat the sack there, yes, but at the same time, there's no other real option on the screen. He's used to pressure being there. The defender just went up and made a play. That happens sometimes. And I do think Cousins played great and, well, not great. He played okay, not great. My bad. And if he's almost like a lot of people get on to Cousins, like, oh, he's not good enough for this, this, and this. It's not that he's not good enough necessarily. It's that he's pretty much Ron Burgundy, if you think about it. Which, what I mean by that is, if you've ever seen the movie Anchorman, what they say is like, whatever you put on the teleprompter, Ron Burgundy will say. Well, wherever you tell Cousins to throw the ball, he's going to throw the ball to that guy. Wherever you tell him, oh, look, you throw to this guy on this. Okay, cool. He's going to throw to that guy every time. So you just got to tell him the right guy, which you can still work with. He's efficient. He's a capable NFL starter. You just got to get things going his way, which I know some people kind of rubs the wrong way. But I feel like the sooner you accept that, the sooner we can carry forward. And I think that's kind of where that screen pass kind of comes into play as well, where it's like, yeah, but why would you throw it even if that's covered? Well, because he's Ron Burgundy. Defensively, this is actually going to be shorter than some people might think on the defensive side. The front seven was really great today. They were forcing fumbles. They forced 5. I think they got 4. So they're forcing fumbles, recovering fumbles. They got 3 interceptions on the back end, but the back end also had some leaks to it where, they were 54% on third down. You can't have that. It felt like, oh no, it's 3rd and 15. They have us right where they want us because they have to go 25 yards down the field, and Mike Williams is just going to bully a guy and get the football. That's what it felt like. So, and I knew the secondary would be tested against this team given the fact they have Mike Williams, Hunter Henry, and Keenan Allen all for this game. And that little hodgepodge of weapons there kind of won the day when Phillip Rivers wasn't giving the football away, or one of the running backs. So that's just how it went. I would still like to see some progression here. Like, it felt like once Xavier Rhodes did get out of the game, it was a little better, even though Rhodes wasn't the guy giving up all the big plays. So it was a little odd how that worked. But nonetheless, it was still tested. I don't think they necessarily passed the test. I'm not sure if they failed the test because they also got 3 interceptions. But if they're going to be a more aggressive style, like I know the Chargers have turned the ball over a lot this year, but if they're going to be this more aggressive turnover style, I think we can certainly accept getting burned a few times more. Where it's like, as long you can give up those big plays, as long as you're getting some in return on the defensive side, you're kind of okay with it. You're kind of fine with that. Because at the end of the day, the turnovers are the bigger deal than, every once in a while they get 27 yards. And I don't know, like I said, though, the front seven was a cause of a lot of these turnovers anyway. Between the fumbles and even some of the interceptions, there was a lot of pressure being involved. They only got 62 yards on the ground off of 19 carries. That's really good. And it just felt like overall the front seven's still very good, and we got to rely on that to get there to impact throws, which we can do, which is nice to see. So overall, this did feel a lot like last week, except for the fact that they had 7 turnovers, and that really skewed the score, where it just felt like, oh no, we don't really need to do this because they're going to mess up eventually. And I don't really like how that's the approach they've pretty much taken the last 2 weeks. I would like to see some more initiative on the offensive side, where it's like, where you see an opportunity to attack. I don't want this be able to say like, yeah, but if we don't here, what if they come back? Like, if you are attacking necessarily, that doesn't happen. Where it's like, even if you get burned on the attacking end, at least you tried. I know they won 39-10, something I probably shouldn't complain about. It's a little thing, but at the same time, we're talking about, what is it, like 52 points if that 3 for 6 turns into 6 for 6, something around that range. So that's the difference, though. And it would just be kind of nice to see this offense take a little bit more initiative and maybe attack downfield more, even because they do have the talent to do that. And I think they showed with that 46-yard play to Diggs late. It's like you can just do that, but they don't want to. And it's just how they kind of play. Whether that's good or bad, we'll see. But now your comments down below, liking, subscribing always helps. And until next time, I bid you all adieu.